This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for getting up with us on this Sunday. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Let's take you outside for a quick look at a drizzly Rose City. Right now, it's looking kind of gray, but still a beautiful Sunday morning for you. And hey, let's get out to the coast, too, from our Pacific City Skycam. Pretty and a little bit of a foggy morning out there. Let's check in with Joe Ranieri for a quick look at the forecast.
Happy Sunday morning to you. I'm KGW meteorologist Joe Ranieri, and we saw dry conditions for the first part of the weekend. Heading into the second half, it's going to be a little bit on the drippy side with some scattered showers, maybe even seeing some thunderstorms move throughout the later part of the afternoon and into the evening hours. As we put Futurecast into motion, you can kind of see it's not going to be a complete washout. We will be seeing a little mix of some sunshine and some clouds, but also some showers at times. But by the afternoon, I'd say by the later part of the afternoon, early part of the evening, we will start to see some drier conditions move through. Most of the thunderstorm activity will be throughout the central and eastern side of the state, especially along the Oregon and Idaho border later on in the evening and into the early morning hours. And then as we look over the next couple of days, we are going to be seeing some drier conditions. The rainfall amounts could be relatively light. I'm expecting to see maybe up to 1/10 of an inch of rain at most over the next couple of days. And coming up in your detailed forecast, I'll talk more about how long the drier conditions will be moving through and if we'll be seeing any warmer temperatures around the corner.
We begin this morning with another night of protests near the Justice Center in downtown Portland. Last night, protesters actually set up their own barricades, blocking traffic along Southwest 3rd. Because of that, police declared an unlawful assembly a little earlier than they have been doing most nights. They pushed the demonstrators back, and some things were also thrown at officers. In the end, police were able to get a truck in to move the barricades. The use of tear gas as crowd control during protests has been a pretty controversial issue. While Portland leaders and activists reached a temporary agreement to limit its use, some want to see a permanent ban. And as Morgan Romero shows us, they're hoping a new report can help change some minds.
Earlier this month, a federal judge granted a temporary restraining order after Don't Shoot Portland, and a group of protesters filed a lawsuit to try to get Portland police to stop using tear gas on crowds. Well, on Friday, the judge extended that temporary restraining order to July 24th. The lawsuit also now includes other less lethal type of crowd control munitions and says they shouldn't be used anywhere where people passively resisting are likely to be subjected to that force.
I have many accounts of people being hurt around me, people doubling over in pain, throwing up. It is mentally traumatizing because I'm going places I can't not look over my shoulder, and when stuff hits the ground, I jump.
Don't Shoot Portland filed a lawsuit against the city this month to pressure Portland police to stop using CS gas, a powdered form of tear gas. Mayor Wheeler responded, telling police to only use tear gas if a serious and immediate threat to life safety arises.
We just kind of accept these things as being part of our general practice within the city, along with police as they exist, as just kind of being the norm. But the norm is killing people, and it's exacerbating other systemic inequities.
Together with community health professionals, Don't Shoot Portland came out with a study Friday on riot control agents and their adverse effects on mental and physical health and social inequities. This new study lays out why the use of CS gas and other chemicals becomes even more dangerous now, in the midst of a pandemic.
Many of those chemicals that are inside of these canisters, these grenades, are actually extremely toxic.
Health experts have concerns over protesters unknowingly infected with the novel coronavirus, coughing from the gas and spreading it.
When you get exposed to tear gas, what do? You cough, you sneeze, you start to tear up. Well, your respiratory droplets that can spread COVID-19 is almost identical in size to what the machine disperses the tear gas in.
Authors of the report found riot control agents could cause long-term mental, emotional, and physical harm and exacerbate trauma.
A lot of people's mental health is already compromised right now as they fight for the injustices that has been plagued upon the African American community. So just showing up, they're risking their lives.
They question, if we can't use tear gas in war against our enemies, Why can we use it on our own people?
We talk about uprisings of civil unrest or the expression of free speech. I think that the concern of our city and the government should be into protecting the rights of those protesters, not to violate their rights, and then also not to poison them or cause harm.
Morgan Romero, KGW News.
Tear gas was also addressed in Oregon's special legislative session. A new bill bans the use of tear gas for police crowd control, except in a riot. It was one of several police accountability bills that passed. Another bans use of force on someone's throat or neck that would keep them from breathing. Then there's one that sets up a statewide public database of officers who've had their certification revoked or suspended. Governor Kate Brown commended state lawmakers for their work.
These bills came together very quickly, but they will have lasting impact for our state, and I applaud lawmakers for taking swift action. I also called legislators into special session in order to respond to the clarion call for police reform. Across the state, tens of thousands of Oregonians have taken to the streets to demand racial justice.
Lawmakers also extended the moratorium on commercial and residential no-cause evictions through September to try to help people who've lost income because of the pandemic. Now to the latest on the coronavirus. Doctors announced 277 new coronavirus cases in Oregon on Saturday. That brings the total to more than 8,000. The new cases also include one death. So far, 202 people have died from the virus in Oregon. The new cases that we're hearing about mark the state's second highest single-day increase since the pandemic started. And as those numbers continue to rise, doctors are recommending face masks to slow the spread. Washington now has a statewide mandate for everyone to wear masks. They're also required in 7 Oregon counties. We asked Governor Kate Brown if Oregon will follow Washington's lead. She says right now a statewide mask requirement is not happening, but she might reconsider if there's a significant infection increase in smaller communities. With the 4th of July holiday quickly approaching, she asked Oregonians to keep it local and to help slow the spread.
We know that following the Memorial Day weekend that we saw a spike in cases. If we continue on this path, we will need to start buttoning down the economy. I don't want to do that. That's not my preferred approach. I want us all to participate. I want us all to take responsibilities for our actions, to be safe, to be kind, to be thoughtful of your neighbors and your community members and all Oregonians.
While no statewide mandate is in place, more counties will soon require face masks. Clatsop County will require them on July 1st, and the coastal city of Manzanita has also asked to be added to the governor's list. Meantime, rescue crews were able to get to a man on Mount Hood after they fell some 300 feet. Rescuers reached him at White River Canyon, which is about 9,000 feet up. The 26-year-old man's climbing partner had called for help. It took rescuers several hours to get to him after the fall. He has serious injuries, but was conscious when he was airlifted to the hospital. Still to come, a Portland company's building design process was always future-minded. How their virtual reality concepts have been very useful during the pandemic and will help offices design and redesign with safety in mind.